All right, let's pull back the curtain on that magic box you use every single day. We're going to break down how a computer actually works, turning all that complicated tech stuff into simple, clear ideas. You ready? Let's get into it.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You click something, you type a few words, and poof, things just happen on the screen. But what's really going on in there? By the end of this, you're not just going to know the answer. You'll get the one simple idea that powers everything, from the phone in your hand to the biggest supercomputers on the planet.
So when you strip away all the jargon, this is really all a computer is. It's a pretty simple idea, actually. Just think of it like a super fast, super obedient assistant. You give it some information, you tell it what to do with that information, and it gives you the result. That's it. Seriously. Everything else, all the complicated stuff, is just built on top of that one basic concept.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what a computer even is. Then, we'll look at the hardware, kind of like its body. After that, the software, its mind. Then we'll check out your digital toolkit and finish with a little something to make you work way faster. Let's go. All right, first up, what is a computer? You know, the word itself is way bigger than most people think. It's not just the desktop sitting on your desk or the laptop you carry around. That phone in your pocket? That's a computer. The navigation system in your car? Yep, that's a computer too. And this chart here, even though the text isn't in English, it lays out the whole computer family tree perfectly. You can see up top you have the big categories: analog, digital, hybrid. And if you follow that digital path down, you see how it branches out. First, you get these huge supercomputers and mainframes. Then they get smaller into mini-computers, and then boom, you get to the microcomputers that we all know and use today. Desktops, laptops, and even those old Palm Tops that were basically the granddads of our smartphones. It's wild. They all share the same basic DNA.
Okay, so now we know what a computer is. Let's, open it up and see what's inside. We're going to start with the hardware. And the easiest way to think about this is if a computer were a person, the hardware is its body. It's all the physical stuff you can actually pick up and touch.
And this simple diagram? This is basically the fundamental rule for all computer hardware. Seriously, everything a computer does, no matter how complicated it seems, follows this simple three-step loop. You've got information going in, say from a keyboard, then it gets processed by the computer's brain, and finally the result comes out onto something like your screen. Input, process, output. That is the core of everything.
So let's break that down with a real example. Step 1 is input. That's you, typing on your keyboard or clicking your mouse. Step 2, processing. The computer's brain grabs that command and thinks, okay, what do they want me to do? And step 3, output. The computer shows you the result, the letter you typed appears, or the program you clicked on opens up. Every single thing you do on a computer follows this exact path.
So the key here is just knowing which parts do which job. Your input devices, that's your keyboard, your mouse, a scanner. The processing stuff, that's the real brain power, the CPU, the motherboard, the RAM or memory. And finally, your output devices are how the computer talks back to you, your monitor, your printer, your speakers. It's that simple.
Now, inside that processing part, we find the computer's memory. And honestly, it works a lot like our own memory. You have short-term memory, which is called RAM. Think of RAM as your desk space. The more RAM you have, the more stuff you can have out and work on at the same time without things getting slow. Then you have long-term memory, which is your hard drive. That's like your filing cabinet, where you store everything away for later.
Okay, so we've got the body, the hardware, but a body can't do anything without a mind, right? That's where software comes in. It's the ghost in the machine. It's the set of instructions, the thoughts, that tells all that physical hardware what it's supposed to do.
I mean, let's be real. Without software, your computer is just a really, really expensive paperweight. Here's another way to think about it. The hardware is like the alphabet, but the software, that's the stories, the poems, the instructions you write with the alphabet. One is pretty useless without the other, but when you put them together, you can create anything.
Now, software usually comes in two main flavors. And the best analogy I've heard is to think of a house. You've got your system software, that's stuff like Windows, that's the foundation, the walls, the roof, it's the structure that holds everything up. Then you have application software. That's your web browser, your games, your music player. That's all the furniture and appliances you put inside the house to actually live in it and do stuff. You can't have one without the other.
All right, so we get the difference between hardware and software. Now let's talk about some of those applications, the actual tools you use. This is your digital toolkit. the stuff that turns that box of circuits into something that can do amazing things.
And we have to start with an absolute classic, Microsoft Word. This is basically your digital pen and paper, but way, way better. It's the app that made the computer the ultimate typewriter, and it's still a core tool for pretty much all of school, work, and just writing things down.
Then you've got Microsoft Excel. So if Word is for words, Excel is the undisputed king of numbers. This is the program that lets you organize huge piles of data, do crazy calculations in an instant, and transform rows of boring numbers into charts that actually make sense. It's pretty much the engine that runs modern business.
And of course, for all the creative folks out there, you've got Adobe Photoshop. This thing is like a digital darkroom, a painter's canvas, and a sculptor's clay all rolled into one. It's the tool that lets you take a photo and make it perfect, or just create incredible art right from your imagination.
Okay, we've gone through all the theory. Now for the fun part, the practice. To wrap things up, I've got a little cheat sheet for you. This is going to help you get way faster and more efficient with all this stuff. Let's unlock that pro-level speed. Seriously, forget clicking around through a million menus. The real secret to being fast on a computer is keyboard shortcuts. If you just learn these basic ones, select all, copy, paste, undo, it will completely change how you work. Control+C to copy and Control+V to paste, they're about to become your two best friends. Trust me on this one.
And there you have it. We started with this mysterious box, and now you understand its body, its mind, and the powerful tools it gives you. At the end of the day, that's all a computer is, an amazing tool. We've broken it down, and now you speak its language. So the only question left is, now that you understand how this incredible tool works, what are you going to do with it? What problems are you going to solve? What are you going to create? The sky's the limit.